accordance with Section 40. Today's meeting is being streamed live on the Township of Ramara YouTube channel. Anyone who is invited to speak will be recorded and their voice, image, and comments will form part of the live stream. The Chair and/or Secretary-Treasurer have the discretion and authority at any time to direct the termination or interruption of live streaming. Such direction will only be given in exceptional circumstances where deemed relevant. Circumstances may include instances where the content of debate is considered misleading, defamatory, or potentially inappropriate to be published. Attendees are advised that they may be subject to legal action if their actions result in inappropriate and/or unacceptable behavior and/or comments. Please note that this meeting is being recorded and is also being live streamed, and that all/some attendees are participating by video conference. Accordingly, please be aware that other people may be able to see you, and take care not to screen share your computer. Anything that you broadcast may be captured by the recording. In accordance with Section 44-1 of the Planning Act, the Council of the Township of Ramara has appointed this Committee of Adjustment to hear applications for variances to the zoning bylaw and applications for consent to sever land. The members of this committee are private citizens who are not members of council, nor are they employees. Committee members are provided with information about each application prior to the public hearing to enable them to review the sections of the township's bylaws which are relevant and to make a site visit if needed. No discussion of applications occur, nor will any decisions be made outside of the public hearing. The procedure for hearing applications is as follows. 1. The Secretary-Treasurer will describe the application and the extent of its processing to date. Number 2. The applicant or agent will be asked for his or her comments. Number 3, members of the audience will be asked for their comments. Number 4, the applicant may then provide further information. Number 5, committee members will then provide questions or comments to be followed by the decision of the committee. A written copy of the notice of decision will be sent to the applicant and anyone who provides the Secretary-Treasurer with a written request, including their full name and address. Decisions of this committee may be appealed to the Ontario Land Tribunal by the applicant, a minister, or a specified person or public body. The procedure is included with the notice of decision, and if you wish to be advised of a possible land tribunal hearing, you must request in writing a copy of this committee's decision. Once the application has been heard by the committee and the 20-day appeal period has ended, the application sign should be removed from your property. The sign can be returned to the township for reuse or recycling. Thank you very much.
Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the first 2025 Committee of Adjustment meeting. I will introduce the committee members. To my left is Member Truax, and next to him is Member Walker. Or to my left, to my right is Member Warren and Member McMillan. I am Chloe Black, the chair to the committee. Please address all comments to the chair and ensure all cell phones are silenced to ensure that an orderly meeting is maintained. Starting with section 2 or 3 of the committee agenda, disclosure of pecuniary interests. Is there any to declare? Seeing none, moving on to the application. The first application, item 4.1, consent and minor variance files B1724 and A2324 for 5135 Side Road 25. Secretary Treasurer, can you please explain the applications?
Yes. Good morning, everybody. I'm just working on sharing my screen here. Bear with me one moment. Okay. So we're discussing files B1724 and A2324 for the location of 5135 Side Road 25. And the agent is Lydia Dvernichuk, and the property owners are Darlene Martin and Catherine Dvernichuk. The consent application is proposed to sever one new residential lot from the subject lands. The variance application is submitted to request relief from the minimum lot area provision that is required in the Ramara zoning bylaw for the retained lands, proposing a variance of 21.18 hectares. So the zoning bylaw does require that the land size of a agricultural parcel as 40 hectares or the original lot survey size. The original lot survey size was less than 40 hectares. So noting that with this severance, it is recognizing an additional deficiency. The concurrent application, so there was an official plan amendment under file OP3/24 to amend policy 9484 of Ramara's official plan. That policy limits lot creation to one residential lot as it existed since January 1st, 1994. So the amendment was to allow for an additional infill lot between two existing residential lots. And Ramara Council has adopted the official plan amendment. However, we are awaiting County of Simcoe final approval for that official plan amendment. The lot configuration, so the severed parcel has a frontage on the road of 57.76 meters approximately, as well as a proposed total lot area of almost an acre or 0.92 acres. The retained lands frontage is approximately 125 meters and would be approximately 46.50 acres in total size. For the application, there was supporting materials, including a planning justification report, a stage 1 and 2 archaeological assessment, and a minimum distance separation calculation. In terms of circulation of the application, the application was circulated in accordance with the Planning Act. We did not receive any comments at the time of authoring the staff report or publishing the meeting agenda. However, County of Simcoe did submit comments January 8th, and they were attached to today's agenda as an addendum. So they are on the website as well as provided to the committee this morning. And just to go over those comments, the highlight of the County of Simcoe comments are essentially that provided the official plan amendment is approved, then they support the consent and variance application. But they recommend that the Committee of Adjustment condition of approval is the successful adoption of the official plan amendment by the County of Simcoe. In terms of the staff report, so again, it's an infill lot between two existing residential lots of record, and the proposal does align with the rural character existing, which includes larger farm parcels and some smaller rural parcels. The use is permitted under policy. The lot will be serviced with a sewage system that is private and does front onto the municipal road. Applications did demonstrate compliance with the minimal distance separation formulae. And again, the lands where the new lot is proposed were assessed, and it was determined that there's no archaeological resources on those lands where the lot is proposed to be created. And based on staff's planning analysis of the application and supporting material, and provided that the recommended conditions are included with any approval, staff are of opinion that the application has demonstrated compliance with the Provincial Planning Statement 2024, as well as the local official plans, and that the minor variance satisfies the 4 tests under the Planning Act. So test 1 being, is the proposal keeping with the general intent and purpose of the zoning bylaw? The proposal maintains the general intent and purpose of the zoning bylaw as the proposed lot is an appropriate size to allow for the permitted uses of its own category, and can be constructed in a manner where applicable provisions under the zoning bylaw are adhered to without triggering further variances. In terms of test number 2, is the proposal keeping the general intent and purpose of the local official plans? And staff are of opinion that yes, the proposal does maintain the general intent and purpose of these plans. All applicable supporting materials have been submitted to demonstrate appropriateness and compliance with the applicable policies, and the use is overall permitted provincially. And test number 3, is the request of variance desirable for the appropriate development or use of subject lands, building, or structure? Yes, staff are of opinion that the proposal is desirable. As the requested infill lot will make sufficient use of the land area between the 2 abutting residential parcels and without compromising the agricultural viability of the retained lands. And is the requested variance minor in nature? Staff are of the opinion that yes, the variance is minor in nature, as the severed and retained lots are adequate sizes for their intended uses. Should the committee find it appropriate to approve this consent application, the following conditions are recommended. Number 1, satisfying requirements of the Township of Ramara, financial and otherwise, including the payment of outstanding taxes and payment of a cash in lieu of parkland. 2 is provisions of a registerable legal descriptions on the parcel to be severed, together with an electronic copy of the applicable reference plan. 3 is the successful approval of minor variance file A2324. And 4, the last condition recommended is the successful approval of official plan amendment 27 by the County of Simcoe.
Perfect. Thank you.
Thank you.
Are the owners or agents here today? Would you like to speak further on it or nope? Okay. Is there anybody on Zoom from the public?
I'm not seeing anyone coming forth. No.
Okay, open it up to the committee then. Member Truax, would you like to start?
I'll set here. I don't see any problem with the application as long as all the conditions are met. I have no problem with it at all.
Perfect. Member Walker?
Yes, I also have no concerns. I read all the reports and everything looks good.
Member Warren?
Yeah, I have one question, Madam Chairperson, through you to Carissa. This official plan amendment that's coming up. Right now, you're only allowed one lot off of rural property as it existed before 1994. Is this going to change? So they're going to allow more, or is it just for this particular situation that is changing?
Right. So the property owners did apply specifically for their lot only. And the Ramara Council have reviewed and approved the official plan amendment. However, since County Simcoe's final approval, it's at the county, but they have only amended Ramara's official plan policy, which, has that stipulation.
Okay, so the condition is set as such that it has to have county's approval for final approval. Is this going to be within that year time frame that
Yes, we
that's
do.
what I was concerned about because we don't.
Yes, so they have the property owners would have 2 years to fulfill all conditions imposed by the committee. But we do anticipate, we have received in writing, I can't remember which week, but this year, that the County of Simcoe has received the official plan amendment proposed that council has adopted, and it is being reviewed. Sometimes it's a few months, sometimes it's quite quick, but we'll leave it with the county. And once we get that, really it's just as long as we receive that adoption, then the committee's approval, should you decide to do so, would remain valid. Thank you.
Thank you, Chris. Again, I have no problem with this. It's just some questions I wanted to clarify before we carried on.
Absolutely. Thank you.
And Member McMillan?
Thank you. Once again, I did a site visit. I have no issues with the severance there and the minor variance. It's a property that should be developed. It's not very good agricultural land at the back, I don't think. It's pretty stony back there. But further to what Member Warren was saying, this OPA, the Council of Ramara says they made the adjustments, the amendment, that they think it's a good idea. I have no issues with that. It's costs the applicant now extra money to go to the county for their OP amendment, right?
Yes.
But in the new draft Ramara official plan, it allows 2 lots now, does it not?
Yes, it does.
So if it was a time thing, they would be wouldn't have to go to the county.
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly.
Okay, just through the chair to staff again. What would happen if this committee deleted that condition?
Deleted the condition of
The county
the
approved.
county. I would say that it would be a risk, because if the official plan amendment doesn't get approved by the county, then, essentially the Committee of Adjustments approval, would have to, hold on, let me think for a second. So the
I didn't
official
mean to
plan
put you on the
amendment
spot.
is not valid until council has, the County of Simcoe Council has adopted. So in the event that the County of Simcoe was to not adopt it, then the property would be out of compliance with the official plan. The applicant could appeal, and on the basis that, the applicant could appeal any decision by committee or the county council. But I mean, the County of Simcoe official plan doesn't have that same stipulation. So we are anticipating approval. However, we wouldn't want to not recommend the condition, as it's responsible to ensure that the legalities of the application are adhered to. So the official plan does need to be amended in order for the property to be in compliance with policy. So staff recommend including the condition.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Chair. Is there a timeline when the county is going to hear this? Like they come to the township in October, the township OPA was passed then, so now it's gone to the county, but do they have a exact time date?
Now, I know that the council, I believe, just approved this in December.
Oh, it's
I
December?
believe, yeah, so it is a fairly recent approval. I'd have to double check. But I'm happy I can provide the confirmation of when the approval, actually, let me just pull it up. It should be on the agenda.
Oh, that's fine. I just wondering. Thank you,
Okay.
Madam Chair.
Thank you.
Okay. Yeah, that was my only question too, is that, I was just wondering the same, is if the county was actually going to review and approve or provide comments in a timely manner about this. So is it the planning staff that approves it, or does it actually have to go to the county council? The same?
The county council approves it.
Okay,
But the county's planning comments do support the proposed development, but I think it's more of a just covering their review because they haven't finished their review. They suggested the condition. But based on the comments they provided, it sounds they're in support of the proposal.
okay.
Thank you.
So, I'm in favor of the application as well. It's kind of an awkward little jut in the property and the infill seems appropriate. I ask this every single time. Do we have to vote on the minor variance first?
I've actually included in one motion. However, there will be two separate decision documents to sign.
Okay.
But it can be under one motion.
So as long as we all agree on the condition of the minor variance, it's just one
Yes.
motion. Okay.
If that's, yes.
Okay, so there's no denials of the minor variance. So I'm putting forth the motion as recommendation by staff that the application be approved with the recommended conditions. Moved by member McMillan, second by member Walker, all in favor? And that motion's carried. Thank you. Yeah.
Yes,
You
you're
can if
welcome
you
to.
want.
There is an appeal period, so keep the sign on the property and we'll send out notice when it can be removed. Perfect. Okay, thank you.
So item 4.2 was just an addendum for the county comments for the previous application. So moving on to 4.3, minor variance file A2424 for 1018 Heron Island. Secretary Treasurer.
Thank you, Madam Chair. And as Madam Chair mentioned, it's 1018 Heron Island for the subject application. minor variance file A2424. Authorized agent is Matt Reed with Sketch Design Build Inc. Property owner is Daniel Carson. The application was submitted to request relief from the minimum high watermark setback to allow for the construction of about 66.3 square meter attached deck to the proposed cottage of the subject property. Proposal will require a 3.98 meter variance to section 15.2F for the high watermark setback of Lake Couchiching. As the proposed setback is 11.02 meters. This development proposes a new single-family dwelling with attached decking and a supporting sewage system on an existing lot of record that abuts Lake Couchiching and includes a maintained shore wall. The location is zoned shoreline residential and is designated rural in the county and township official plans. I don't know how clear this is online, but I just have a site plan here showing the proposed cottage, the attached decking, and setback to the high water mark. In terms of circulation, the application was circulated in accordance with the Planning Act. We haven't received any comments on the proposal to date. In terms of the 4 tests under section 45(1) of the Planning Act, should the committee can authorize applications provided the proposals are in compliance with the 4 tests. Test 1 being is the proposal in keeping with the general intent and purpose of the zoning bylaw. Staff are of the opinion the proposal maintains the general intent and purpose of the zoning bylaw since it is in compliance with the permitted uses and all other required zoning provisions. The zoning bylaw permits reductions in setbacks for decking, but the topography of the area and restriction for any habitable living space as a condition of approval, in staff's opinion, maintains the intent of the bylaw. In terms of test 2 is the proposal in keeping with the general intent of the and purpose of the official plans. It is staff's opinions that the proposal does. The use is permitted. The proposal is not creating risks to human safety or property damage, and the proposal will be adequately serviced. And it's staff's opinion that the proposal maintains the rural residential character of Heron Island. For test 3, is the request of variance desirable for the appropriate development or use of the subject lands, building, or structure? It is staff's opinion, yes, the proposal is desirable based on the considerations taken by the applicant, including the shape of the property and configuration of the shoreline on the lot, the topography on the land, the Ontario Building Code prescribed sewage system setbacks, and just noting that the parcel is an existing lot of record slated for residential use. In terms of test 4, is the variance minor in nature? Staff are opinion that yes, the variance proposed is minor in nature, including that most unenclosed attached decks are permitted to have a 13.5 meter setback to the proposed high or to the high water mark, given that it is an 11.2 meter variance request. That the variance requested itself is considered minor in staff's opinion, and again, due to the topography of the land, that yard projection provision can't be provided or can't be included. And then also staff are of the opinion that the proposal is minor, provided that the recommended conditions are included. These include that if the committee adjustment chooses to approve the application, that the variance pertains only to the request as submitted with the application. And secondly, that the proposed attached deck shall not be converted to habitable living space. And just wanted to kind of go in on why we only want or suggesting that the variance pertains to the application as submitted, is in case the proposed deck was to be changed to be extending the full back of the lot, for example, or just that the design is completely different. Perhaps the committee of adjustment would feel differently, or surrounding neighbors, and perhaps it would have more of an impact to the lands. So the first condition is recommended based on that information or potential of those different designs that could occur. And condition 2 is to restrict the proposed deck to be converted to living space, just to keep the intensification further from the water and compliant with the setbacks for the living space. In terms of the suggested motion on the agenda today, should the committee find it appropriate to approve the minor variance application, the following is the suggested motion that the Committee of Adjustment receive report BP 6724 published to today's agenda, and that minor variance application A2424 be approved with the recommended conditions, and the committee could alternately amend the motion suggested or defer or deny the applications. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there an owner applicant on Zoom that wishes to speak further to the application?
Hi there. I'm Matt Reed from Sketch Design Build in Barrie, and I'm here representing the owner today for this minor variance application. Thanks for the detailed presentation there. So I'm happy to answer any questions that anyone has at this time.
Perfect. Thank you. Is there anybody from the public?
I'm not seeing anybody looking to speak.
Okay. I'll start with you, Member Warren.
Thank you, Madam Chairperson, because I was hoping you'd ask me first. On this application, the previous Committee of Adjustment that we had other not other applications on islands. And we still felt, even though it says in our guidelines, a site visit if necessary, we still felt that there should be a site visit to see that the sign is there and to see that just a general look of what the lay of the land is. I know it's difficult in the wintertime. And as I say, we had a lengthy discussion on that, and we felt applications like this either should be deferred so the owner could somehow arrange a site visit, either by boat, by snowmobile or something. As far as the application itself is concerned, I believe it to be a very minor application. Cooching is all controlled by the Trent Severn system and by Parks Canada. So there's no really danger of flooding. It's just, I'd like to see how the other members would feel about that, whether they feel that's necessary or whether we just take the applicant's word that the sign is there, and we haven't heard any complaints from any of the other adjoining property owners. Thank you, Madam Chairperson, for letting me speak first.
And if I may, through the chair to Member Warren, I just want to confirm the application sign was posted at the end of the Fern Resort Road on the municipal parking lot, I believe adjacent the boat launch, just so that it could meet the posting requirements of the Planning Act, where it's not appropriate or, for a sign to be posted where it's not going to be viewed publicly. The Secretary Treasurer may choose an alternate location. So I circulated that to infrastructure and the clerk, and everyone was fine with that. And so they posted the sign that way. And in terms of just the Planning Act, we can't deny accepting applications. And we have to make sure that the committee hears an application that is complete within 30 days. So there isn't really any policy or law that would support, I guess, the committee deferring I guess if it's in the opinion that the committee feels they cannot make a decision based on not being able to view the lot, if it is very, very unique or there is a concern. But hopefully the agent or applicant could further elaborate or satisfy any concerns you have. I think actually Matt Reed, the agent, is looking to speak. One moment.
Yeah,
That-
so,
that-
I could share some great site photos that we took during the summer with you guys so that you can get just that better visual of what's there and how heavily wooded it is and see that existing retaining wall. So I'll go ahead and share my screen. Okay, so if everyone can see that. So this is the subject property for where the cottage is gonna go, and basically the cottage will go up on the hill. And it'll only be the front end of the deck that just kind of overhangs down below this armor stone wall. So all this stuff was here, and the goal was to really minimize, site impact with the new developments. We didn't want to have to, make alterations to this wall or have to remove excessive amount of trees in behind. So there's just another video showing the area. That's kind of what the waterfront looks like from standing at that wall. Right, so I hope that helps everyone to kind of see, what the area looks like. Just help answer or satisfy any concerns.
Do you have further comments?
No, I'll.
You want to open it up to the,
I'll let
okay.
the other members see what they have to say on the situation. That's just my opinion. I mean, that can change, but I just like to hear what they have to say.
Okay, Member McMillan or anybody else?
Thank you. Overall, I have no issues with it. Just a couple of the condition. Condition 1 is that we're saying the minor variance is strictly this application. Well, we're putting that in as a condition, but we were always told to me that the application is just strictly for whatever's on that application. But now we're putting it in there as a condition.
When it comes to this recommended condition, I can pull most reports over the last, since I have worked here, and that condition is very frequently suggested. Not necessarily every variance. For example, last variance proposed for the retained lands for property 5135 Side Road 25. That variance did not have that condition. And the reason for that is it is essentially just varying the size of the retained lands. There's no other way that that could be interpreted. Whereas the proposal being presented is a whole new house as well as attached decking. The condition in staff's opinion is just put forth more in case that the proposal really has changed significantly. If that would, have altered the committee's opinion of the application or, any neighboring comments or the integrity of the land and the lot itself. So it's totally up to the committee if they find that condition appropriate or not, but where staff are coming from when it comes to that condition is more just to ensure that if the proposal is completely altered to a different design, that gets recirculated to be reviewed. So in that case, that's just the reason that we're recommending, but it's completely understandable if the committee feels that the approval itself is insurance enough that the proposal would be as it's presented.
Thank you, Madam Chair. And then condition number 2, that the deck shall not be converted to habitable living space. Now, what I see on the diagram, it's only the small corner of the deck that's where the variance is required, not the whole deck. So if that wasn't there, they wouldn't even be here asking for a minor variance. Yeah, if I'm correct in looking at that. Like,
Sorry, I'm gonna turn my mic on. So I'll just share my screen so we can look at the site plan.
Be further. So they could convert it to so they could live in it or whatever, like whether it's screened in, is that called prohibit or?
Yes, yes. So in terms of if they would like to add an addition, that's toward the rear yard and the high water mark. As long as the addition that they're adding meets setbacks would meet the 15 meters. So it's just how far out they're proposing the addition, but staff are recommended that in terms of the decking, anything that's within the approved variant setback, does not then allow for that to be converted to living space. The reason that staff support is because it is decking, it's not living space encroaching the water. If it was proposing to have living space in the water, staff would want to review further in terms of compliance with provincial policy, and perhaps a natural heritage evaluation may have been triggered. So that condition is recommended just to kind of help ensure that the proposal conforms with policy. Because it is not living space being proposed, it is decking being proposed to encroach that required setback. So anything encroaching that required setback, we don't want converted to living space. So that's why we've input that condition. If you'd like to alter it in any way, we can do that, or it's completely up to the committee.
But
I think the question might be, so is this condition going to impede them if they want to cover parts of the deck that are within the legal setback? Like, is this prohibiting the entire deck from being converted? The way that's worded?
So
Because the one corner is only like 14.5 meters. So if they wanted to cover a portion that meets the proper setback, is this condition?
So we can finesse the condition perhaps if the committee would prefer. So we could put something along the lines, I might just alter this right now. Condition 2, that the proposed attached deck that is located within the high watermark setback.
Okay, yeah.
That way, yeah, just it brings clarity for
Yep.
future
No,
reviewers.
for sure.
Thank
That's a good
you.
point.
Thank you.
And then what are your thoughts? Oh, are you done?
just further to there, I would like to have done a site visit. Obviously it wasn't practical. I went down, I seen the sign in the parking lot. But that's it. And I was hoping somebody'd be there with the snow machine. I could bumper, but I didn't get it. But other than that, I have no issues, and thank you.
So what are your thoughts about island properties and lack of site visits, and further opening up the discussion for Member Warren's point?
I think I think we left this, when we had this discussion with our last committee, the last time there was an island application, we supposedly left it with the staff, that staff was to let the owner know that they would probably have to arrange transportation for a site visit. So I would like in the future that definitely be on the books type of thing, that staff will remind the owner of an island property that they will be required to arrange a site visit at their own expense.
Now,
And time within,
I sent you a couple emails sharing
time
some
frame that we
Google Docs. You'll have to create a Google
oh, hello?
account through the township email, and then you'll be able to access them.
Okay.
But yeah, no rush.
This is happening.
Sorry, I'm trying to mute. Perfect.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay.
If I may, through the chair to Member Warren and committee members, potentially that could be something that we could incorporate into the rules of procedure for the committee.
Okay.
And if committee would like, staff can bring that forth with the next, I believe it's February 4th Committee of Adjustment meeting. We could bring forth an updated rules of procedure potentially. That way it's clear, just because currently we don't have a policy. So it is difficult for the applicant if they're applying, and the planning act requires 30-day review. Then and we say, yep, we'll accept it. It may not be necessarily fair to the applicant. Our planner Jen is online.
Yes.
Hi, Jen.
Good morning, everyone. Just to provide an element of clarity, so a site visit is not a requirement of a complete application. During the time that this application was in, I would think even if we did sort of have a policy to say that, you know, maybe a community would need to be able to go out and do a site visit, the ice just wouldn't have been safe to go out. It's a difficult time of year. The committee does have the discretion if they are not comfortable making a decision on a specific application without doing a site visit, there is the option to defer if it's deemed, you know, sort of intricate enough for the community to have to go out and see. We do generally ask for applicants when they do submissions on island properties to provide pictures so that the committee can see as well as staff. So just to keep that in mind, I don't know, we'll have to review best practices to see if we can actually put something like that into the rules and procedures because it will be taken on a case by case basis. Obviously in the summer, it's a lot easier to get out there, whereas in the winter, it could be quite a bit difficult. So requiring that as a condition of approval might be difficult. So we would just have to review and make sure that we're sort of not going outside of the scope of our mandate as a committee.
Okay. Member Walker. Comments, please.
I agree that a site visit is important. And I try to do it as much as possible, but I know last year we had an island, I thought, that they were going to arrange a boat. I don't know whatever happened with that, but
They did the same thing. It was just they put the sign down by the end of the road. So if anybody had a question, that they could get in contact with the township about what the sign was about.
we have confirmed the sign is up and I've read all the reports. I have no problems.
Thank you. Member Truax.
I have no problems with it. There is sign posted. And the fluctuation on Lake Couchiching isn't that much compared to some other areas in the township and that, so I can't see a problem.
Perfect. Thank you. Yeah, I think the case by case scenario is fair. I think if it came down to it and we couldn't do a site visit, but we all had discussion and grounds to defer it based on needing to see the property if there were no photos or something, then I think that would be fair. In terms of the application itself, when we get applications like this, kind of similar to the foundations that we've seen where they were built and they encroached further, is there any like requirement in terms of these sorts of applications too, where they would have to get the deck measured by a surveyor once it was actually built to make sure it didn't encroach further?
Yeah, so the Ramara building bylaw, I can't remember if it's section 5.4. But there is a section of the Ramara building bylaw that requires any proposal, regardless if it has a minor variance or not, that is proposed to have the structure or building located in 0.5 meter of a required yard, have an Ontario land surveyor confirm the setback prior to pouring the foundation, or depending on what kind of structure it is, just prior to closing the file.
Okay. So they'll have to get this setback confirmed?
Yes, it would be
Okay.
part of the building inspection process.
Okay.
Building would require it, yes.
Perfect.
Thank you.
So that provides some level of comfort, I guess.
Oh, sorry. And also just to note that staff are now putting a note on the decisions for variances regarding this building bylaw requirement, just so that there isn't, it just keeps the transition smoother and information, I think, clear, although it's not part of planning or committee of adjustment per se. It just, I think, is helpful.
Okay.
So we'll
Perfect.
include that. Thank you.
So if there's no further discussion, I will put a motion to approve the application as presented with the recommended conditions. Moved by member Truax, second by member Warren. All in favor? And that motion's carried. Thank you. Whew. Okay.
Thank you.
Section 5, adoption of minutes. Did everybody have a chance to review the minutes from the December 3rd, 2024 meeting? And is there any errors or omissions requiring a revision? Seeing none. Can I have a motion that the draft minutes from the December 3rd, 2024 meeting be approved as presented? Moved by member McMillan, second by member Walker. All in favor? Okay, that's carried. And new or unfinished business, section 6. There is an agenda item, 6.1, that the Committee of Adjustment 2025 chair appointment. So a new chair shall be selected at the first meeting of a new calendar year as required under section 211 of the Committee of Adjustment Rules or Procedures. You may volunteer or you can be nominated. Anybody want to take over? Okay. I'm okay with that. So the recommendation will be that member Black be appointed chair to the Committee of Adjustment for the meetings of the 2025 calendar year. Do we vote on that? Okay, moved by member Warren, second by member Truax. All in favor? I guess I vote maybe. That is carried. And then, so I guess I can put this so that we're not talking about it under the application for the site visits. I definitely think there should be some level of a site visit, whether it be photos or an actual visit. Do we need to make it policy, or is it fair that we discuss it and can defer it if we want to?
I think perhaps staff could do a little bit more review and just provide an update at the next committee meeting, and then maybe from there perhaps make any
maybe
decisions if it,
maybe if the owner was comfortable putting those photos on a public agenda, then that maybe could have been done for us to review as part of.
And I know it was discussed that it was an island property a whole bunch, but I honestly, when I'm processing the application, sometimes just depending on how, when you're looking at the application in different details or if there's questions, I don't know that the actual photos were required or requested, if that makes sense, by myself. And I was doing primarily the communication and processing of the application. But unfortunately, those weren't. So I think that it would be great to ensure there is something for island properties where that's a prompt to ensure that's collected, given that it's winter and horrible out. And probably wouldn't be safe for committee to visit, even if they applied in November. For committee to wait the whole time might be difficult on the applicant at the same time. So photos would be best.
Jen, do you want to speak further?
I agree with Kristen. We'll take a look. We'll see what some of the municipalities with multiple islands do. I'm sure there's many factors to consider, even in terms of like insurance, if people bringing members out, making sure that it's not creating quorum or a meeting. There's lots of things that we'll have to look at. So we will invest and we'll come back with something for the next meeting with a recommendation on how to move forward.
Okay, awesome. I'm comfortable with that.
Madam Chair, Chairperson, I still think that the policy should be for any island applications that we have in the future, that you would disclose to the proposed applicant that he may be required to have a site visit, not must be required, and that he would have to facilitate that. Like, pictures are good and they tell quite a bit, but there's nothing better than standing in front of the property and looking at it yourself with his own eyes. And I understand it's not very practical in the wintertime, but if it was a major home build or something on the island, I think the committee should see that. So it's just something that could be considered into the application process for an island property, if that the owner is aware that may be required.
Okay, so we'll have a staff review and some sort of report or for the next meeting? Perfect. Thank you. Alrighty, moving to adjournment.
Madam Chair.
Oh, sorry.
Just a question to you, to the staff. When applications come in and there's reports provided, what criteria does the planning staff have to what makes that person coming in to do it qualified? Like the one that was presented today that did a plan and justification report for the council. But when I Googled that name, she was a certified financial planner, not a professional land planner. The one we did previous, one from across the road, we had a park and justification study. And when it went to the land tribunal, they couldn't use that report. They had to have a traffic engineer. I'm just saying, what criteria does the planning staff have?
So when it comes to the supporting materials for the application, for example, if there was a hydrogeological assessment, that has to be done by a professional engineer. Same with an environmental impact study. Really only an environmentalist, qualified professional would be able to provide that. Now staff have had leniency in terms of property owners, developers submitting applications. And if they're able to submit an application that has a document, for example, planning justification report, it is based on policy, but there is an opinion aspect in our official plan. There is a note regarding qualified professionals, but there's not really a definition or anything like that. So that aspect, Jennifer, our planner, will be able to also comment on one moment.
Sorry, not to interrupt. So many applications for committee of adjustment specifically, a lot of times the owners come in and they do the applications themselves. The one that you're specifically speaking to, the planning justification report, it was a family member assisted with their justification for it. They were advised that it wasn't done by a registered professional planner as part of the review of the application. If the time came and it ended up being appealed, then it's sort of it results in a risk, I guess, on the applicant's part, which is up to their discretion. But in this case, like for the lot creation change to allow for the additional lot on the side road 25 property, the application was fairly straightforward. It meets policy. It's actually in the draft OP right now. So the application was able to proceed accordingly. So it really depends on the application as to what's required. There's a terms of reference generally calculated, but terms of reference sort of coordinated on each individual study, depending on what the requirements are from the municipality to be satisfied. And then they get the study done accordingly.
Okay. No further comments under new or unfinished business? Okay, moving on to section 7 for adjournment. Recommendation that the Committee of Adjustment meeting adjourn at 10:23 a.m. Moved by Member Walker, second by Member Truax. All in favor? And that's adjourned.